everyone, I'm Ankita Pokharel. In today's video, we shall learn how to express abilities. Here, we shall do two reading comprehension under the topic Nepal Women's National Team and a conversation at a library. Alongside, we'll also learn a grammar topic and learn how to use could and couldn't to complete sentences. Let's begin the class now. So let's begin with the reading part of the Paralympic Games. The Paralympic Games are international sports competitions for people with disabilities. The Paralympic take place shortly after the Olympic Games in the same host city. The name Paralympic means alongside the Olympics, athletes from countries around the world compete in the Paralympics. Some Paralympic athletes have spinal cord injuries that caused paralysis. Some have missing limbs. These athletes may use wheelchairs or artificial limbs to move around. Some athletes are blind or have limited vision. Others have conditions that limit their movements. Athletes with intellectual disabilities may compete in some of the events. The International Paralympic Committee (IPC) has organized the Paralympic Games since 1989. One of its goals is to help athletes with disabilities achieve excellence in sports. Another aim is to increase the world's respect and admiration for people with disabilities. So here, let's quickly discuss the meaning of the highlighted words. Paralympic, it's already mentioned, alongside the Olympics. Athletes means the ones who are playing or competing in any kind of games or sports. Next we have spinal cord. So let's understand spinal cord like a superhighway for messages, as it connects your brain to the rest of your body, letting you feel things and move your muscles, and it's protected by your backbone. Right? Paralysis is the loss of movement or sensation below the level of the injury. Next, what do we have? Intellectual. Intellectual means it's related to the ability to think, understand, or make reasons. Okay? Excellence means the quality of being outstanding or extremely good. And I'm sure you know what disability means. It's away from being able of something. Okay, let's move to another part of the reading. At the Summer Paralympic Games, participants compete in more than a dozen sports. Among them are archery, cycling, rowing, sitting volleyball, soccer, swimming, table tennis, wheelchair basketball, and wheelchair fencing. At the Winter Paralympic Games, athletes compete in ice sledge hockey, skiing, wheelchair curling, and other cold weather sports. Athletes compete against others with similar abilities. In many events, athletes use artificial limbs or wheelchairs. However, these tools are not allowed in certain events such as swimming and sitting volleyball. Some events require special equipment. For example, the low sledge on which ice hockey players sit. In some cases, guides may assist athletes with visual disabilities. The Paralympics began in 1948 when a doctor named Ludwig Guttmann organized an athletic competition in the United Kingdom. The athletes were experts who had lost the use of their legs in World War II. The competition took place the same day as the opening ceremony of the Summer Olympics in London. So let's highlight the key points of Paralympic Games. Here in this text, we got to know what are Paralympic Games. So what are Paralympic Games? It's an international sports competition for people with disabilities, and we also got to know that they take place shortly after the Olympic Games in the same host city. So did you get the answer to this? Yes, let's move to another thing that we got to know through the text. The other thing is who participates. Who participate in Paralympic Games? Athletes with various disabilities including spinal cord injuries, missing limbs, blindness or limited vision, alongside intellectual disabilities. These people participate in Paralympic Games. Okay, the next thing is the goals of the Paralympic Games. We also got to know the goals of Paralympic Games. It helps athletes with disabilities achieve excellence in sports, and the other thing is it is also done to increase the world's respect and admiration for people with disabilities. So there is a very generous goal against holding Paralympic Games. The other thing we got to know through the text is the number of events at the Summer Paralympics and Winter Paralympics. Let's discuss about the Summer Paralympic first. So what are the events at the Summer Paralympics? Listen carefully. They are archery, cycling, rowing, sitting volleyball, soccer, swimming, table tennis, wheelchair, basketball, wheelchair fencing, and more. The other thing, the events at the Winter Paralympics were also mentioned in the text. And what are those? It's ice sledge hockey, skiing, wheelchair curling, and other cold weather sports. The other thing we also got to know is about how the athletes compete. So what's the process? They compete against each other with similar abilities. They also use artificial limbs or wheelchairs in some events. In the text, we also got to know about the history of the Paralympics. And what was the things that we got to know? That it began in 1948 with a competition for World War II veterans with spinal cord injuries, right? And who organized it first? It was organized by Dr. Ludwig Guttmann in the United Kingdom. So these were the main highlights of the text. Since we have already discussed the meanings of the words given, let's try fitting them into the fill in the blanks. She has hearing loss, however, she performs very well in all the subjects. She has hearing disability. Let's underline it once it's gone. The dash are training hard for the national games. The athletes are training hard for the national games. Number C. Polio disease can cause death and sometimes death. It can cause paralysis and sometimes death. Lack of proper nutrition can stop the dash growth of the children. The intellectual growth. The audience clapped in the dash of her beautiful dance. In the admiration of her beautiful dance. Are you going to dance in any game in the sports week? Compete. Our school is famous in the area for its educational excellence. What does you need to play table tennis? What equipments do you need to play table tennis? My uncle is a doctor. In fact, he is an dash of skin. He is an expert of skin. So we're done with this exercise. Here for our reading part 2, we have a short poem about phone. And the title is My Phone. Let's read together. My phone has tons of gadgets, 150 rings, can store 1,000 numbers and other nifty things. My phone can send me email and news from far away, predict tomorrow's weather and tell the time of day. My phone can download music, take photos in a flash, make videos and movies and really make a splash. I heard that in the old days, I'm not sure what this means, that people use their phones to talk to other human beings. So let's quickly discuss the meanings first. First we have is gadgets. You know what's gadgets? They are small, useful and often electronic devices. Okay, I'm writing it in short. Nifty. What's nifty? Nifty means it's cool or impressive. Predict. Predict means to say that something will happen in the future. Predeclaration of an incident of future. Next we have flash. It's a sudden burst of light or also in a very short period of time. So referring to the poem, it's short period of time. And lastly, the meaning that we might be confused about is splash, and it means to make a sudden loud noise or cause a big reaction. So in this poem, we get to know the things that we almost know everything about smartphones, and it highlights the features of the modern phone. Right? All the numerous features that the modern smartphones have is highlighted in this poem. It mentions gadgets. It also mentions about storing 1,000 numbers, right? We can store a lot of numbers. It also mentions about sending emails. Can we send emails through our smartphones? Yes. It also explains that we can check news, predict weather, and take photos and videos, right? The next thing, it also shows the contrast about the evolution of phones. The poem contrasts modern phones with the older ones, and it says that it's very surprising to know that in the past phones were primarily used to talk to other people only. There were no other features in phones in the past, right? It also explains that phones are entertaining and informative. As in the poem, we can see and find out that the poem is emphasizing how phones provide entertainment and information. It also mentions that we can download music, take photos and videos, and access news and weather information, which is also a primary source of entertainment and information. Likely, phones are impressive. Are phones impressive? Yes. How is it mentioned in the poem? The poem says that using phone is really exciting and also explains the impact of modern phones. So within this short poem, we have a lot of information about modern smartphones. So here are some exercises for you. Match the rhyming words. Rings, things. Away, day. Flash, splash. Means beings. Easy. Now, since we have already discussed the words and meanings, this is your assignment, and also as we have discussed the poem in detail, question answer is also your assignment. So here we have an exercise for grammar, which is about the modal verbs can, can't, could, and couldn't. Before we get to go do the exercise, let's quickly learn what do these modal verbs mean or emphasize. Can emphasizes the ability in the present. It also emphasizes possibility, or sometimes it's used for informal permissions or requests, right? Can't. Can't is the inability in the present. It also expresses impossibility. Sometimes in informal English, can't is also all about prohibition. So, taking an example of can, ability in present, if you say a sentence, I can swim, it expresses the ability of your swimming, correct? Now, moving on to can't, when it has to explain an inability in present, you say, I can't fly. So, here can't is expressing the inability in present time. Okay? Impossibility. You can't be in two places at once. You can't be in two places at once. So it's explaining impossibility. Prohibition, which is also used in informal language. You can't eat inside a library. So this is all about prohibition explained using can't. Okay, let's move to could. Could explains the ability in the past. For example, I could swim when I was 5 years old. So if you say so, it's explaining your ability in the past. It also explains about possibility in the past. Taking an example, it could have rained yesterday. Possibility, correct? It also refers to polite requests or suggestions. And it also refers to past permissions. Going back to polite requests or suggestions, let's take an example. Could you please open the window? Are we requesting? So we used could. Now, explaining past permission. If I say I could go to the party last night, right? Here I am referring to a past permission that could have occurred last night. Let's quickly move to couldn't. It expresses the inability in the past. For example, if I say I couldn't swim when I was 2, it's explaining the inability in past time. It also explains about impossibility in past again. We couldn't find a parking space. So it was an impossibility during a past time explained in this sentence. So it also explains past prohibition. So just like can't, this also explains a prohibition in the past time. Okay, can't is used for present and couldn't is used for past. So this is the variation, or this is the thing that we should keep in our mind while we do the exercise. So since I have already explained you in details about can and can't, could and couldn't, try doing this exercise in your own. As mentioned here, there may be more than one answer. So feel free to do the work and practice. How did your class go today? If you have any suggestions or feedback, feel free to reach out to us at learning@dearwork.edu.np. See you in the next class with another lesson. Thank you.